Good. All right, I'm here, and you guys are in another room. So we need to transfer this. I don't know how to do that. All right, how do I get you guys? Oh, there you guys are. All right, we got it working. Can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me? Sweet. All right. I can't believe I actually got it working. I'm like shocked. All right. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Welcome to my first live video feed. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? I have no idea. Yeah, you know what I realized, because I'm a fucking retard, is that when I was hooking up my second monitor, I totally forgot that I pulled out my camera. So I dissed the OBS shit, and I just did it I'm just doing it right from my webcam. What would you like to know about the RAV4? Phoebe, what do you want to know about the RAV4? It was blue. No. Oh, okay. That one I know real well. So November 4th, somewhere in one of my earlier videos, I honestly have no idea which video it is, but somewhere in my earlier videos, on November 4th, Colburn called in the RAV4. They claim that it wasn't actually called in on the 4th, and that after they planted it and shit, then they turned around and said, oh, well, we marked down the wrong date, which is fucking impossible. But there is actual police record that states that the phone call Colburn called in, that he read off the license plate. There's no way in holy hell that you would read off a license plate if you weren't staring at the car. Now, as far as what Zellner said about hearing something behind it, like someone said, it's hers or something, I never heard anything behind it, but I don't have great ears. But a lot of people said they've heard stuff behind it. I just never actually did. But when they called it in, there is actual police record that states, hey, the RAV4 was taken into custody and Teresa is assumed or presumed kidnapped. That's the RAV4. Then the next day, all of a sudden, it's shown up on Avery's property. But then when this CASA report came out, and it showed blatantly that, hey, you know what? You guys had it on the 4th. So that's why this whole thing about Scott Tadich's friend that was explained in Making a Murderer, I don't know anything about that. I remember hearing about it, but I really don't know much about that. But that would make perfect sense that he told them, hey, there's a car right down the road that's crushed, and yada yada, car's crushed, so let's go ahead and call it in to see whose car it is. So I mean, it does make perfect sense. What are your thoughts on the long list of people who didn't want to participate? I got a serious issue with this, though. Teresa's family, I understand, but why didn't Bobby or what's his name, Brian, or any of the other brothers get involved? Your brother is in jail. I don't understand that, honestly. I never did. Like, Bobby kept his distance. That's one of the reasons I've always found him suspect, because he always kept his distance. And I mean, that's your little brother. That's your 16-year-old brother. So that's just my opinion, though. Hello, Dublin, Ireland. It's very suspicious. It's bullshit. Like, just like when Scott said, oh, I'm so proud because I went to go see him like 11 times in 12 years. Yeah, you're a great All right. Bobby never went to go see him once. Not once. Wanted nothing to do with the camera. I just find it really odd. I really do. Is Kratz doing tours around the country? I'm surprised he's not, actually. Laura, could you please tell the other people in the other one to move over here? I posted a link. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to jump back to the other room. I don't know. What do you make of the conflicting timelines of TH taking the photos? I'll be honest with you. I would not say this in a video, so please don't hold me to this, but I try to say it nicely, but everybody, I understand she's dead, and yes, you put somebody dead on a pedestal, but she wasn't an angel. And I think people forget that. Like, they make her out to be this total angel. She wasn't. She did a lot more at 25 than I've done. And I don't know. I just think a lot of people are fucked up in this whole case, honestly. Tammy, I just started. We couldn't get anything working. Did you see that? I've seen Dr. Phil with Lynn. I saw that episode. Anthony, honestly, Zellner has not named directly anybody except Scott and Bobby. She boldly named them, like by name and everything. That makes me believe she is pretty definitive that it's them. But what happened to the chat? There we go. Kratz told defense of Brendan's comp. That's why it was left out of trial. Oh, Kratz is a fucking joke. I mean, I'd literally pay money to go head to head with him. I mean, he's just such a joke. What do I think of Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil's not a real doctor, I'll tell you that much. He's an entertainer. He tries to stir the pot, and that's what he does. Yes, Larry, I love Kratz. He's my favorite. If you don't know, Larry has tortured me for 2 years calling me Mrs. Kratz. Why does the chat keep disappearing? It disappeared. I can't see anyone. There we go. I think MH knew TH was dead before they ever found the bones. Been watching the TV interview where he talks about, Mike Halbach. I was confused about who MH was. You don't agree with, you kind of do, though. I mean, honestly, you do. If my brother was missing, I would probably mourn to a point. But I really, my heart of hearts, believe they knew she was dead on the 4th, and then the rest was just a whole setup. Nancy Grace is an asshole. I liked her during Casey Anthony. Like, she was really fun. Granted, I was a lot younger, but she was a lot of fun to watch. Now she's in Avery case. She was just an asshole. Now I know why so many people hated her. Oh, I love Juan. Me and Juan go way back. He's a really good guy, actually. He's like the JFK 911. That's very true, Karen. I agree with you guys. The whole case is just so fucked. I mean, it's so fucked. The truck driver saw the RAV4. Yeah, that's where you missed. I had already said that, Tammy. Someone asked about the RAV4. Dr. Phil's Baldy Murray. Who's your daddy? Yeah, I agree, Anthony. The evidence it's so blatantly obvious. I mean, like, even, and I said this in a video once, who the fuck doesn't have a crime scene? Like, I mean, a CSI team. How do you not have investigators? That makes no sense. Do you know what? Fuck. Don't ever buy Logitech headset. The things fucking suck. Thoughts on the coroner from Making a Murderer 2? I was heartbroken. I was like, I really hope this woman is not living in the state of Wisconsin and cannot be found, because I swear she would get killed. I think they're wrong. Raquel, wrong about what? Oh, they know they're wrong? Kratz is too much of a narcissist. He justifies everything he does. I'm going to say to the press that I believe she did. But you have to understand something. Zellner hasn't been able to get past the red tape. She hasn't been able to prove anything yet. I mean, she did prove it, but getting past a corrupt court is going to be that much harder for her. And I've noticed too that like Kratz is on a pedestal about he keeps winning. Half of these guys are going to be dead or retired by the time any of this really gets to light. Keith, I've always said it was Scott and Bobby, always. What are your thoughts on the mislabeling of the burn barrels? Kratz mislabeled the deer camp burn barrel. Of course he did, because understand something about narcissists, especially someone like Ken. They will do whatever they need to do to get what they want, and at the same time, they'll be able to justify it with some strange way. Kratz wife's I think she's worse, actually. Jazzy, as far as the mislabeling, it's just standard Kratz. That's standard narcissism. I mean, I think they knew that they had everybody by the balls. They didn't have to work too hard. So them mislabeling things to them is no big deal. It was an error. No big deal. How many bodies, bones were in the quarry? Nobody knows, actually. I agree, Laura. Most people are afraid to say anything negative. Yeah, they are. And I don't know why. By 25 years old, she's having threesomes and with married men. She's not a saint. Not that she deserved to get killed, but we don't even know how she was killed, honestly. I mean, if Zellner's right, it's a pretty brutal killing. I think it was episode 1, where she believes that they were pounding her head, that's a brutal death. Honestly though, all you guys who have been with me for 2 years we know that she wasn't buried at the Avery site. But at the same time, I find that Skinny thing really interesting, and everyone's like, that's old news. I had no idea. I didn't know Scott's nickname was Skinny, and it makes perfect sense about the Sickie letter that's something that she didn't talk about, which I was kind of surprised. Spence, I have no clue what the parts. Oh, his defense sucked. I heard, I don't think it was anyone here, but I got so much shit 2 years ago for saying that Strang and Buting were a fucking joke. Everybody hated me for a short time. Like, nobody would speak. Like, they were so great, but they were worried about the Denny motion. Denny motion was useless. They could have done what Zellner's doing easily, and they chose not to. Can you go over the see, Kathy, you remember that, right? Can you go over the Skinny? I don't know that much about it, but there's an affidavit that Allie had actually showed me after I read about it in one of the groups, that Scott Tatters's nickname at work for years was Skinny. So when they got the Sickie letter, does everyone know what the Sickie letter is? Because I don't think some people even know what it is. All right, I'll explain it real quick. All right, Valerie, and you guys help me out because I don't totally remember 2 years ago. There was a letter called the Sickie letter that went to the police. Help me if I'm wrong, but it was either right after Stephen got arrested, after Brendan, it was sometime around there, that this letter went to Fassbender, I think. I don't even want to quote the cop who it was, but this letter went in this cryptic letter stating that she was burned at the smelter, but it was cryptic. So then the whole Ed Edwards bullshit started coming out, which I laughed at and I still laugh at. It was not Ed Edwards. But Scott Tadich worked at a smelter. So that was where everybody first started thinking that Scott was the killer or involved in it. And then, the lies between the two of them. But somebody, Irikos or Allie, somebody still has the Sickie letter, but it was just an encrypted letter. And for years, nobody understood what the fuck Sickie meant. Like, what the hell did it mean? And everybody was trying to figure it out for a long time. And now somebody asked Zellner, and Zellner said she believes Sickie is skinny in cryptic. So that's a nutshell of what the Sickie letter is. Oh, Marissa, they totally did. Totally. They were like, oh, we're getting $200,000. That's all we need. They did the poorest fucking job ever. They didn't even question Kratz. Like, they never even questioned what he did. It was like, sure, Kratz can do whatever the fuck he wants. Appreciate us. Thanks, Greg. But honestly, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. Like, I wouldn't. I would never make videos if nobody watched me. And I love that I have a place to talk and you guys like it and you guys listen to me rant, and I love you guys and I will keep doing videos as long as you guys want me to. Hit like everybody? What does that mean? Teresa knows something. She's not coming forward. Now I'm pretty convinced Teresa's dead. Was it signed the Sickie? It was Sikkey. Am I right, Ericos? Sikkey? Yeah, that's it, Leah. Sickie. But the whole letter was just weird. Like, it was just really weird. There was no reason for such a strange letter. Aw, thanks, Tammy. Keith, why, you think she's alive? Why do I think she's dead? Too much evidence to point she's dead. Too much. Somebody would have talked. Yeah, I don't know too many people. My sister-in-law just started watching it. My mom asked me. My mom's 73, but she's cool as shit. She said to me, so do I have to watch one if I want to watch Making a Murder, or two? And I said, yeah, Ma, you do. Just don't watch my videos. The letter could explain the condition of the bones. Not so much, really. Dana, what do you think of buying and disputing and Strang having 7 jurors ready to vote not guilty? I think it's bullshit. Carmen, let me tell you something about Carmen. I made a video about Carmen and the bones last year. A couple of you guys know this. Some of you don't. Carmen's brother contacted me. Like, it was her real brother. Me and a couple of Ryan, Lynn, we all started talking to him, and he was around for a long time, and then he disappeared. He said he wanted off Facebook, but they didn't know anything. But what we did learn is that she was cremated a couple of days later. Her father worked like a bunch of jobs to pay for that funeral. They buried her in a certain outfit. She died at her aunt's house, or a grandmother's house. The cops kept trying to blow the family off, like they didn't want to talk. They wouldn't let them see the body. It was very weird, but legit, but it was weird. Where were the rest of the body bones? That's left to be determined. Nobody knows. Where's a good website that I can go download PDF files regarding this case? I don't know if it's still around. You mean from the first Making a Murder? I don't know if it's still around, but it was StephenAvery.org, I think. StephenAveryCase.org. He had every file imaginable. Stephanie, she definitely wasn't burnt in an open pit. Remaker had a body. Yeah, Remaker had Carmen's body cremated, but he didn't pay for it. That was a rumor. Her brother said her dad worked her ass off to pay for that. Why did DNA not match her mother? Because the DNA is the same from mother to daughter. Who, Carmen or Teresa. Wolfette. Whose DNA didn't match? Teresa didn't match her mother. Teresa's mom. That wasn't Teresa's real mom. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I know Mike wasn't her real brother. Somebody was adopted from somewhere or was half brothers. I don't totally remember the whole story. I don't think the guy killed her, but sometimes a pair is better than one. Zellner treated the experts said it would take about 5 hours to burn. Yeah, and then I don't ever remember, and I double checked this. I don't ever remember them talking about that she was dismembered. That's I can't remember anything from MAM1 saying she was dismembered. She was always buried bodied whole. So with her saying, with Zellner saying that she was dismembered, makes me think that those were not her bones at all. But I could be wrong. I would remember even there when he was full force on Teresa's case. Well, Carmen died before Teresa. Carmen died a few days before Teresa was even missing. She actually died on the 3rd, I believe. Why would Bobby tell Brian he knows Steven didn't do it? I don't know if Bobby really said that. Barb tells so many fucking lies that you have no idea who's telling the truth and who's not. It was numerous, right? That's why I'm like, I am starting to think that's when I came out with is Bobby a fucking serial killer? Because I mean, if he really did do this, I'm sure that's not the first person he's killed. Nobody kills somebody so violently and never does it again. That's just my opinion. No, I don't think Barb has anything to do with it, but I think she's covering up. My original theory, and I still stick by this, I think they kind of forced Brendan to take the fall, thinking, and this is just like a guess, but thinking like, oh, he's only 16. He'll go to juvie for 2 years and then he'll be home and everyone will forget about it and everything will be fine. They didn't realize how bad they were going to get him. And I don't think they really cared about Steven too much. And that's how I think it went down. Keith, as a matter of fact, and I said this earlier on Facebook, Kratz it was in Guilty Group in 2016. He actually turned around and said that and I quote this, that Teresa only died on the 31st if you believe that Stephen Avery did it. Isn't that who we're supposed to believe did it? So that makes me believe that she was killed elsewhere after the 3rd. A cow and a monkey and maybe a junkie were burned in a pit. No proof has been presented that TH is dead. Another one with TH isn't dead. I'm telling you, she's dead. She just didn't disappear. Bobby used hunting to cover him, but hunters know that deer are more active. Yeah, I don't know anything about deer hunting. Poor Bambi. Can they use the Stephen and Scott argument from the jail cell? Nah, that's not evidence. I mean, it shows, we all know it shows that he's a fucking asshole, but it really doesn't mean anything. I mean, think about it though. If let's say you were innocent, can you imagine if the whole world thinks that you're guilty and you really were innocent? You'd fucking freak out too. Why would Avery Brennan? I totally agree. And a guilter said something that's very true. Avery's not smart enough to pull this whole thing off the way that Kratz had it laid out. He's just not. Allie's bumping me. Where are you live at? You found me already? Allie, I think is in the wrong room. You're in the wrong room. All right. But here we are. I believe they framed they absolutely framed Stephen. They may agree, which you don't agree with the prosecutor. What do you mean, Keith? Why would every that's true. I listened to Bobby's latest interview today. I also remember the big Facebook fight here. Yeah, it's all lies. Dear me from Michigan. Ugh. All that blood from Brendan's confession, and yet the blood they find of hers in the back of the RAV4. The whole put Steven aside for a minute. Poor Brendan. I mean, honestly, I don't understand how his lawyer, forget Kaczynski, but anybody, any lawyer, Supreme Court, anywhere, you can't, every single one of us have hair that falls out all the time. There was not one hair of Teresa's in that entire fucking trailer. That is almost impossible if she ever stepped foot in that trailer. So how this wasn't jumped on more, I don't know. If I was an attorney, that would have been the first fucking thing that I jumped on. Sick of you on Facebook Live. Who, me? Oh, I know. I just realized you had sent me a message. Sorry, Tanya. So he's on our spot on here. Who do you think is most guilty? I think Bobby's most guilty. I think Scott just helped him. I always said that. As much of a dick, and I'd love to say Scott's a murderer. I don't think Scott's a murderer. I think Scott just helped. What does a body smell? Oh, Gabrielle, I said that too. Body burn smells nasty. I was living in New York during 9/11. It is disgusting, and it's a smell that I will never forget. And then Brandon's DNA is, I know, there was no DNA of Brandon. There's not a hair of Brandon. There's nothing. And yet all these courts, I don't even think he has a place. I think Zellner's his only hope at this point. Like, I don't think you can go past the Supreme Court, but I might be wrong. Bye, Keith. Have a good night. Thanks for coming. People have been convicted on a drop of blood in a room. There was none. It's crazy. There's no way Brendan could hide anything for this long either. Oh, I totally agree. I'm telling you, my heart of hearts tells me that he truly believed that he was going to that he was going to get out in like 2 years and just be tried as in juvenile. Make a post with the link. All right, make a post with the link so we know where to go. Does anyone know how to do that? Allie's telling me there's a whole bunch of people in the other room who doesn't know how to come over here, and I don't know how to do that. Anyone have any idea? Let me try this. All right, back to this. Let me scroll up. Patch. I was looking for you on Facebook Live. I got that. I don't believe they ever thought Brendan would go. Oh, I agree with you. They never thought he would confess, but they needed him to confess. And that's the other thing. I have fought with people about this. Bernard, I fought with about this. People forget about the Kratz weekend. I don't know if any of you guys have ever known cops, been involved with cops, been on the other side of the law. I've been in jail. I've all the above right here. But the reason I'm saying that is because cops don't pay for you to go away for a weekend. They just don't. And the fact that they carelessly forgot to record it, that was right before the March 1st interview. So there's no fucking way that they didn't coerce him then. And then on March 1st, oh, it looks so innocent. And I don't know why nobody's bringing this up unless the cops denied that they took him there. If there's no record of it, it's the only thing I can think of. It just bothers me that like everybody seems to forget that the cops paid for them to go away for the weekend right before March 1st. That to me should have been like brought up at the trial that Laura did with everybody. Like that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I'm ignoring Larry with his stupid, do I think someone's sexy? I think I strolled up too far. If Scott was charged for threats to see, he won't be. The only way Scott's going to get in trouble for that is if he's actually found guilty. But if he's found innocent, he can blow it off. But I don't know why they haven't sued Zellner. I mean, granted, it's going to be hard to go up against Zellner, but if they knew that she had no evidence, she's a fucking multimillionaire. So they'd get a lot of money if she didn't have evidence to prove it. So I don't know. That also makes me think that they're guilty. How come none of the witnesses report a smell? Karen, I agree with you. I think I was down more. Yep, I was. No, Brendan. I know, Rebecca. I'm sorry. It was like we had to close out the other room. It was ugly. Bobby did it. I agree with you. If Stephen and Brendan get free, they need to press charges against everybody. They won't. They'll sue the state if lucky. I think they just want to live. I mean, at this point, like if Kratz got in trouble, something like that, I think they would be killed. I don't know so much about Brandon. They're not letting Stephen win. So if he got out, I would expect him dead. And I hate to say it, but it's true. Do you think Laura was kind if she outmatched it? It's hard to say, Dana. From what they said, with the big en blanc, out of like all these thousands of cases, they've heard 48 since like what year was it? In 42 years or something, or 16 years. So most lawyers in the United States have never gone in front of them. I'm sure Zellner's never gone in front of them. But a lawyer who's really had no other cases, or a professor who's had no other cases besides Brandon, has to fight this. I can't fault her for it. I mean, I think she did good with her nerves and everything else, but yeah, that's got to be fucking scary. I'd be scared. Marissa, I agree with you. I would be the exact same way. Like, why are you fucking paying for my vacation? I would love to know why Scott screamed, cries that Stephen ruined his life. Because of the rumors. But that's what I'm saying. If he was so innocent, then sue Zellner. You certainly have a hell of a case if you did. How do you know Bobby's obsessed with the movie Saw? Love to know. Stephen still has a lot of trials left. Brendan doesn't. Do you think they want them out for money? Who wants them out for money? No, I don't think it's about money at this point. I really don't, because Zellner spent a fuckload of her own money. I mean, even from Making a Murderer 2, and I said this in my last video, she's got a lot of good people in Chicago. So there's plenty of good experts in Chicago, but she went to like the best of the best across the entire United States. That says something about how much money she's laying out for this case. I think she really, truly believes he's innocent. And I didn't at first. I thought it was a big, like, publicity stunt. If they free Stephen Brandon, will be released, right? I believe so. I didn't know that, Allie. Snowshoes about what? Think Supreme Court will eventually give Stephen a hearing. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Bobby may be a person of interest. but there's actually nothing that ties him to the murder. Not totally true, Luke. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a lot more evidence against him than there is Brendan, and Brendan's been in jail for 12 years. And you notice something, another thing I noticed though, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, everyone, and maybe it was just who Making a Murderer 2 went after, but I mean, there are young people in Wisconsin, and it seemed like only the really old people thought he was so guilty. And I don't know if that's something you guys noticed or I just noticed. Oh, Allie's sending me something good. Dassey's computer messages from Bobby. Oh, that's right. That's right. Bobby had spoken to some girl back in February of 2006, and he wrote where we're going to play a game, and we're going to play a game by my rules. Why don't you meet me by a warehouse? I'll be that guy on Saw. I forgot about that. And Bobby's just a fucked up person. He always has been. Yeah, Larry, that's what I just read. You're right. If one gets out, the other will pass this. Brendan confessed, but not like the problem with his confession, there was not 1 ounce of evidence that matched the confession. If you're gonna have a confession, you have to have evidence that matches it, and they never did. There was nothing that tied him to that crime. If one judge looks at Zellner's new evidence, how can they not give him a new trial? Because they have to get past a corrupt judge. Getting past a corrupt judge, it's hard. May Judge Kavanaugh. Shasta memo. It's creepy. Is 100% confirmed bones were Carmen. No, it's not 100% confirmed bones were Carmen's at all. We believe they were Carmen's, but nothing is 100% at all. There's evidence that proves BD's exactly, Hawkeye. If you have a false confession, but the evidence matches, like in Ryan's case, Ryan Ferguson, there was a lot more evidence to match a confession. There was no evidence to match his confession at all. They created the evidence after the they ended up creating the evidence after the confession. It was ridiculous. And that press conference, don't even get me started. And hold on, guys. I'm just reading something that I'm reading something that Allie just sent me. Something about they stuck Kayla in a cell and told her that if she didn't say what they wanted her to say, she was going to stay there at the age of 14. I don't know how true that is. I'll have to look more into that and get back to you guys on that one, because that's a first. I haven't heard that before. I just found, a VR guy. I love my VR. Can you see behind me? I have to just finish part 2. And I think Bobby and his stepfather, the people who just sit in jail. That's why they got him to see gun to head. Exactly. But that's why Brandon has more evidence of Bobby. But he doesn't have more evidence. The only thing Brendan has is a confession where no evidence matched up to it. That's not a confession. That's a storytelling. Stephanie Carmen is someone that lived in Manitowoc who got lots of chances with the police. She was a local, what we learned from her brother, she was a doper. She was a drug addict. She looked like Teresa, kind of, same height, same build. She was a lesbian, but she also had this horrific drug addict boyfriend. But she was just a nice kid and from a fucked up background. And she ended up overdosing on Excuse me. She ended up overdosing on November 3rd. And there's been a lot of talk that the two of them are somehow linked in death. Second court judge, circuit judges are ridiculous. Yeah, but Scott, even like this judge, this new judge, I didn't know that her whole thing was domestic violence and she's all for the victims, the victim. You're a fucking judge. You're not supposed to have an opinion. Doesn't matter what you think. You have to go by the law, and these judges aren't. I totally agree, John. Somebody's got to see it. I mean, you just have to be able to see it. And I may too, you want to know who made me the most frustrated? Besides Kratz, who just gives me goosebumps because I just want to kill him. Is her friend in the beginning. This irked me so much when he said, because it just summed up the whole entire episode. I mean, the whole entire setup was, well, it doesn't really matter if, at this point, if they're innocent or not. No, it does matter. That pissed me off more than anything. I think that just set the whole my whole attitude for the whole series. I'm saying evidence, not real evidence. I agree Bennett's confession was bullshit. His confession contrary. Exactly. Judge Angela, yeah, she's just an asshole. Bobby really trusts Scott enough to. I think he would. Larry, I actually do. But he didn't just start dating his mom because Barb's ex-husband, that's Scott's first cousin. So they already knew each other. And that's when I started blaming Scott. Was Scott tried to act like he didn't know Brendan. He fucking grew up with Brendan. So, but he didn't know Brendan's name. There were just too many lies coming from Scott for no reason. Circumcised that could be is not enough to say it was. To be honest, like Ryan is stuff. Ryan is a suspect. He's an obvious suspect. I guess I've always seen it as it's too obviously him. Like it's just too obvious. That's what I'm skeptical about. Why didn't the boys get live interviews from prison so we could hear them? I don't know. I agree, Scott. It's just I couldn't believe how she was saying, she's a voice for the person that's dead. Yeah, but this isn't a domestic violence case. This is a violent murder that makes no sense. I heard this guy called multiple bars, all stuff. Not saying anything negative about the cop. I think, Karina, I think just because that's a small town. I don't think it's because, like if it was New York City, they wouldn't even think twice. The Averys lived on the property for how many years? And Bobby says, no. That's exactly what I'm saying. There were too many lies from Kratz. Well, besides that, but there were too many lies from Bobby and Scott for no reason. Like, how do you not know what's around the corner? It just didn't make sense. Oh, Jazzy, I agree. Ryan he's always been one, in my eyes, that helped with the setup. I mean, he had to have been. Why else was he there so many times? It doesn't make sense. There's just no reason for him to be there. I really don't think Mike was involved, though. I think Mike maybe was involved in the cover-up, but I think Mike really believed that Stephen and Brendan did it, so it really didn't matter to him how he helped, block them away, because in his heart of hearts, he really believes that they killed him, that they did it. I mean, you are kidding that you're intimidated by these people. You should move to develop a brain. Huh? You just told that this past November. So what am I missing? Yeah, but you know who knows a lot about that, Tommy? Bernard Phillips. He knows a lot about that property shit. Steve, Tadich had a trailer like 10 feet from where Teresa's car was, and then they bought a house like 10 feet the other way. Bernard knows a lot about that. Yeah, I don't get Marissa, I agree. I don't get the whole let me move into my ex-girlfriend's house. Like that was weird. Are you trying to put DNA all over the place? I really thought that was weird. I agree with you, Hawkeye. I completely agree with you. The coroner's jurisdiction is limited to determining who the deceased was and how, when and how they came to death. The lady was so afraid. And Rebecca, I agree. That's why I really hope that she no longer lives in Wisconsin. Um, Thank you, Allie. Um, I said, yeah, it was just strange. Last November, customer. One key and a key ring. Yeah, I don't get that either. You guys should see my keys. I have like fucking 30 keys. Everyone's like, you're gonna break your thing. I haven't yet. Um, Tammy, I don't know how long he lived in the house, but I know he went in immediately after. Tanya, I'm gonna read the comment out loud, then respond. Yes, ma'am. Jeez. Um, yes, Rebecca, Allie is still around. Dana said, wasn't the key just a spare? It was just a spare. How's that, Tanya? Better? It was just a spare. Scott says, so Avery wouldn't burn a body in the fire pit and Scott wouldn't plant a car next to his house. Who would? Bobby would. That's the only one. I agree with that. Chris Johnson, did Zellner name Barb as a suspect? No. Along with Bobby and Scott, no. Honestly, Barb is way too fucking stupid to do any kind of murder. Is there any hard evidence to suggest that she was actually murdered on the 31st? Only if, according to Kratz, only if you believe that Stephen Avery killed her. Raquel, it's cool. Me and Tanya go way back. Way, way, way back. Could Teresa be buried in that house? Doubt it. I don't know. I mean, anything is possible. We have no idea, like, what really happened. How's check Rip Ryan? Yeah, Phil, somebody said that. All right, I forgot. Tanya wanted me to repeat it. How about the chapstick Ryan supplied police? Wax residue on the bullet. Someone said that Zellner didn't say that, but then somebody else said Zellner did say that. I don't remember it Making a Murder 2. I didn't listen that carefully. But there was wax that they believed chapstick was rubbed on to Teresa's stuff in order to get that waxy residue. Andy said some bullets are encased with wax. The expert did say a waxy residue. Chapstick on a bullet theory was in MAM 2, but I thought that started in MAM 1. I might be wrong, but I thought that originally started in MAM 1. Actual findings, but not in the show. Okay, maybe that's why, because I knew I heard it before MAM 2. But that wasn't brand new news from MAM 2. She didn't say chapstick directly, but she implied it. But I don't even understand why they would need it because, I mean, they had so much DNA from Teresa. I mean, fuck, Ryan was living there, you know? She had a pap smear, which you can't get any more DNA than that. She had so much, underwear and a toothbrush and everything. Why didn't his lawyers do all of this? Because his lawyers sucked. His lawyers were a fucking joke. If the ex-boyfriend Ryan didn't kill her, why be involved in getting Avery locked up? Well, if he actually believes that Avery and Brendan did kill her, then they would do anything. Just like anybody, though, you're gonna do anything you can to, put the killers behind bars. They should be able to test the wax anyway to determine. I don't know if you can really determine it though. The blood wasn't on the bullet though, just DNA. Exactly. Did Ryan get a big payout? I don't think so. Where is he now? What is he doing? He's a nurse or something. Even a vibrator. That goes to something else. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. They had a vibrator. I mean, they had more fucking DNA than they knew what to do with. The only reason his lawyers looked good at first was because Kaczynski was so fucking bad. That's true. Then you start to read and pay attention, and you realize they were just as bad. They were just about a step up. Are the public still sending nice, usable things to the boys in prison? I think so. But I mean, I don't know if how many of you guys were around in 2016. The family burned so many people. Anybody ever watch Dave Bagoda's videos? Of course. Good old boys in Wisconsin. I don't know if I so buy that either, though, but I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I'm honestly not. And me and Dave have gone head to head on his conspiracy theories. Ryan helped LE to take focus away from himself. Absolutely. I'm from the Ukraine, and I thought cops do not do this type of stuff. Honestly, most cops don't, but he said this a long time ago, and I'll say it again. I don't believe that there were that many people involved in this. I think it was only a very few, but those very few knew how to play it very well. I think the Denny but the Denny, let me explain something about the Denny, and I said this a long time ago too. The Denny motion did not stop them from doing their job. The Denny motion just stopped them from saying, Bobby did it. Well, give me fucking evidence Bobby did it. They were enough suspects that they could have met the criteria to ignore the Denny motion, but they never tried. That's true, Marissa. That is true. The Good Old Boy Club absolutely exists there. But the boys club exists everywhere. It's a man's world. And I hate to say it, but I'm so not a feminist. It's a man's world. You want to survive in this world? Think like a man, fight like a man. You don't have to talk like a man, unlike me, but that's the New Yorker in me. You want to get ahead in business? You have to fight like a man. I mean, you have to work like a man. It's just the way it is. Can they watch the news about themselves? They have never watched Making a Murder. I know that. Kratz said that even the key was planted. He still did. He's such a fucking loser. I think there is proof that the coroner was not a member of the club. That's very true. KZ fights like a man. She sure does. Harder than a man. Exactly right. Chat just went away again. Where'd the chat go? There we are. Now it disappeared again. La 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 la. All right. That's what I'm saying, Hawkeye. If they would have done their job, they could have got around this Denny motion easily. The one they didn't have for Denny motion though was motive, even though Avery had motive. They could have came up with motive. Teresa was a pot smoker. That was no secret. Bobby was a pot dealer. That was no secret. Teresa owed Bobby a shitload of money. I mean, they could have made up a secret motive. Her eyes were lots on her ring and photo. It cracks me up when you talk about Kratz. I fucking hate that man. Yeah, I absolutely hate that man. He is the biggest piece of shit. And I have this thing with the narcissists, psychopaths. Like I can spot them. I was played by one like for years and years and years in court, and I see all the signs in him, and it just drives me fucking insane. It's like one of those buttons that you push, and then you hear his voice. It's not even like he's like a man and he has a good voice. He's like a fucking girl. I can't handle it. Learning that Kaczynski was a lieutenant, colonel, and jag in the military. He's just, he's another one. Him and Kratz belong in a fucking cell together. But here's another thing that I don't get. So Kaczynski is like 80 years old, or however fucking old he is. He harassed his secretary so much that they put him in jail. He's a fucking judge. You would put him in jail, but you don't see the corruption that is going around or how he was a good attorney. Makes fucking no sense to me. Do I work in a court? No, I was my own lawyer for 3 years, and I know the law very well because I quit my job at AT&T to study it, to prepare for what I had to prepare for. And I have a master's in criminal justice, but no, I'm not a lawyer. I don't think I'd pass a bar. Tammy spare key, so someone gave the cops the key, not on her ring. Let's face it, you will never be able to remove the rat from Kratz. That's very true. I agree. Kratz is a perv. Sounds like a perv from the get-go. He is a perv. You and Erica should do one together live. You both do a great job. Oh, thanks, Robert. I think Ryan would have been the one to give the cops the key. Oh, absolutely. Or the key was like possibly still in the car. I bet the cops told TH's family we need a spare key to get her vehicle. I don't doubt that either. And I thought of something the other night too, that if, like, when Pam was looking in the car, don't you think she would have noticed the blood? Like, because I watch crime shows and shit, but if you're looking in if you're looking in a car and it's bright daylight, you're going to notice there's blood if there's significant blood. And you would panic and say, oh my God, there's blood in the car. She never once mentioned blood. I thought about this the other day. You know what I mean, though? But, like, you would look in a car and say, oh my God, there's blood. Where is she? What happened? I mean, it's just normal reaction. Pam of God, exactly right. Yet no blood on the door handle. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I mean, you're looking in the car. You're gonna look in and see what's happening inside. So yeah, I don't get that one. Pam is going to hell. Whatever happened to her? Does anyone know? I know, Tammy. I know it was put there later, but that's what I'm saying. Why are, like, we the only ones that notice that see that? Was a roommate ever a thought? I never thought so, and that's another thing. She's dating Ryan. When was she fucking Scott? I mean, she wasn't an angel. How long did they look through his property before the family found car? One day. If you go by the timeline, she was missing the night of the 3rd, and he was they found the car on the 5th. Oh, I see what you're saying, Sky. Yeah, Phil's right. It took 20 minutes, to find the car and, massive amount of people. See, what was your name? Let me scroll up because I forgot. Robert. The reason why me and Irikos would not do well together, because he won't put down the family. And I'll tell you, they're all a bunch of fucking low-life meth heads. So that's where him and I are different and where we fight, or where we would not see eye to eye on that point. And it was on street. How long? We don't know. Supposedly, it was driven into Avery's property on the night of the 4th. Which family of meth heads? Carla. Carla's a meth head. Barb's a little rough looking. Scott's a pothead. The rest of them, I don't know. But Carla's Carla. Who gave Pam? I think everybody did, Tanya. Who gave Pam the Pam of God? I think everybody did. See, Allie won't insult the family either. I have no problem doing it. Abusing. They have stories. Oh boy. Oh, a lot of people have stories. Um, um, Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, back here. Sorry about that. So what evidence do you think proves Teresa was murdered? Common sense. I mean, not that people that think she wasn't murdered, common sense, but too many people would have talked. There would have been somebody that said, oh, she's alive, or just something. The funeral director, too many people then would be involved in this cover up, and I don't believe that. How many judges in the 7th do you think watched MAM? Probably only the ones that thought it was a conspiracy, not a conspiracy, interrogation thing. But who said it first? Tanya, I have no idea. What gave him that idea? What did I miss? Jazzy Carla is Steven's niece, who in 2016 was all over YouTube. She professed to, I'm not YouTube, GoFundMe's. And she professed to care about Steven so much. And she was the family spokeswoman and yada, yada, yada. And then she became friends with all guilters. And she was like backstabbing everybody. And just, that's who Carla is. And notice she wasn't featured in MAM. That Lynn got more time than she did. Dolores breaks my heart, Raquel. Absolutely breaks my heart. But I would love. What day did the alleged murder happen? Wasn't it October 31st? And the car was found on the 3rd. Yes, Chris. That's the debate, though. So as of now, we believe that if Stephen Avery killed her, yes, it was the 31st, but nobody really knows because they didn't report her, to come home for days. Whatever was to come of Teresa's invite to a Halloween party and who invited her. I think it was just her friends. This whole case can be a mistrial with a ham bone and a backyard fire. I agree, Joshua. Barb looks buzzed in every interview with Scott hiding behind her. I know she knows something you know. I agree, Karina. I think she knows something. I really think that they traded Brandon for Bobby. I honestly do, and I've always said it. Were they all home after 5 at some point, though? Phil, that actually depends on which interview you want to look at, because Scott said like 5 different interviews, or honestly, like 3 different interviews, and they all said something different. Why didn't they look into the party? I think they did look into the party, Tammy. Were any of these family members close to Stephen and supported him before this? Well, Scott didn't. Barb, I think, did because it's a brother. I know the parents did, but that's about it. We know Carla didn't. Brendan's family really didn't. Barb's little chuckle on the phone call struck me as shady. Oh, she's definitely shady. There's no doubt about that. But I hate to say it, but I think she's just too fucking stupid to do anything. Only way Bobby confessed by suicide. Yeah, see, I just think Bobby's staying out of the spotlight. Zellner wants to talk to Teresa's friends about all parties she went to over the weekend and possibly Monday night. Kim Ducat's his cousin. Yes, Kim's been a diehard supporter. All right, so Weigert said in the search warrant he believed he would find evidence of rape, torture, and murder if TH. What made him think that was true? Probably Bobby's computer. John Boston, what's up? John made a good video today about my stalker. It's pretty good. Go on, Big Picture Project. The present, see the truth. What? Barb's asking Brendan if he did it on a known recorded call in MAM1, ruined her for me. Yeah, I'm telling you, Barb was just very weird. The way she handled everything, it just really made me believe that I might be wrong, but it just really made me believe that she was like, oh, well, you know, Did you say anything, Brandon? Make sure you don't say anything, Brandon. Make sure you keep your mouth shut, Brandon. Like, it was just weird. I got you too, Boston. But that was before you had the computer. No, I feel I was only joking when I said Bobby's computer. I just think it was all part of the setup. I really do. And, the little things they found in Avery's house, like the handcuffs. The man was locked up for 18 years. He can have fucking handcuffs. It's not illegal. You ever go to a sex store and see some of the things? I think handcuffs are pretty lame. Yeah, I don't know why Teresa's friends won't talk to Zellner. I honestly don't. Man yourself in a cage for your life. I agree with you. Like 18 fucking years of locked up, and then you come home to Jody. I mean, come on now. But Barb is so uneducated. Come on, guys. Tell me you guys did not laugh. I almost felt bad for her. In MAM 2, and she goes, "Justice will prevail." I was like, oh my God, she did not just say justice will prevail. I had a laugh. Where are we? Scott visiting his mom in the morning. Why does chat keep blinking out? What grounds would he have to base that on? I missed something. Yeah, there was no DNA on cuffs. There was nothing in his whatchamacallit, in his on the bedpost or anything. Insert latex first. Does Barb truly believe no one in the family is guilty? I don't believe that, Scott. I think she knows. When can you tell me about TH's family? They seem very strange to me. I really don't think they're that strange. They're all educated. They all have great jobs, and they're successful. I really don't think they're strange. I think they just want this behind them because they believe that they got the killer. I wonder if they watched MAM too. Not the first one. They had to have, but to see Zellner's experts, I really wonder. Why do they always use the word yet at the end of every sentence? I don't know. I agree, Stephanie. None of them are educated. Halbach's family is, not Brendan's. I get bad vibes from Barb too, especially after the computer. Yeah, there's something up with her. I think she was saying Scott's gonna kill me over this. I said the same thing, Phil. Oh, sorry, Tanya. I think she said Scott's gonna kill me over this is what she meant too. I thought the same thing initially. Barb knows something for sure. I mean, you can tell she gets hammered every day to even deal with it. I just think she's an abused woman. There's at least one of her friends that has gone to Zellner. I'm afraid they're protecting Ryan because they really believe Stephen is guilty. It's possible, but I don't know. Someone needs to come forward. They need to offer a reward if they get more answers. That is true. Are you there yet? I don't get that. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, John keeps saying this, and he's right, though. Hag and Barb can't afford to ever pay for anything, but yet they can buy a new house. They can buy new cars. They can do this. They can do that, but they can't go see their son. It just doesn't add up. Bye, Dana. See you tomorrow. I think that is what she meant, and then backpedaled because she knew she was being recorded by the prison. That's probably very true. But I mean, even so, like, as dumb as you might be, how do you not be in a police station with your son? I mean, about your brother, no less. It just doesn't add up. I questioned Barbara on Facebook a while ago, and she denied it. She blocked me like back in March of 2016. She sent me a text once that said, "Don't you blame my husband or something?" I was like, "Your husband is fucking guilty." I was kicked out of family rooms after that. John, that whole I didn't have internet back then. Yeah, it was bullshit. She lied so many times about the internet. She lied about a lot of things. What was the old vehicle Barb and them sold, make and model? Please, Tammy, I have no idea. Does anyone know the old vehicle the Barb and them sold, make and model? I don't know that one. Marissa. They've got that family place in the mountains too. Yeah, that's another thing. Steven's family was not as poor as everyone liked to make them out to be. Now they are, according to Making a Murderer 2, but I don't think they were then. Like I don't have a second house. I agree, Stephanie. My child would never be in that situation. They took full advantage of the fact that Barb doesn't know her rights. But Barb's been in jail, and Scott certainly had a history. And with Steven, here's the other thing. With Steven being in jail for 18 years, how do you not know, like, don't do these things? I don't get it. I mean, the same cops that would never even let him out. Why does it matter what van they sold? I'm just curious. She said she never used it, didn't pay attention to it. Yet when asked, she said she wanted to come at her to run faster. For real, Barb, please. I agree with you. Towards the end, it honestly rubbed me the wrong way when Barb is out there protesting and Scott's ass is probably hunting for his next victim. Plus, she's a hypocrite for protesting when she loves Scott, lives Scott. I agree with you. All right, guys, explain to me, what's the relevance of what she sold? Is there a reason you guys are talking about it? I honestly don't know. John, he did that on purpose. I totally believe he did that on purpose. I think he was quiet on. Zellner probably told him to direct him in that way. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I don't doubt if Zellner told him to bait him. They lack education but plot and execute a complex murder. Oh, I agree with you. But I've never seen Steven yell or get mad. Well, when have you actually spoke to him either, though? Everyone gets mad. I've seen you get mad. May look like a RAV4, that's why. Oh, okay. Tammy, that makes sense. But no, it didn't look like a RAV4. VR Man. I believe Barb protect Bobby and Scott because Bobby and Scott have killed Teresa. And she finds out they want to blame it on Brendan because he's a little bit retarded. I agree with that. I'll stop there, John. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, though. I have always said it, that I'm convinced that Barb is the one that Barb is covering for Scott and Bobby. And honestly, though, she may not even know. She may be so dumb that she doesn't even know. Like, it's possible that she's that stupid. Honestly, it's definitely possible. What was the big burn spot on Cuss Road? Honestly, I don't know. Allie, you still here? I'm not sure. One of them is a pedophile. Who's a pet? Allie. What was the big burn spot on Cuss Road? Chat went out. All right, reading the testimonies. Hold that, Wolfette. Allie's gonna answer that. Reading the testimony, Scott talked about how Brendan molested the kid. Oh, that was a fucking joke, Phil. I agree with that. And the niece, etc., and even Barbin then said that he tried defending Steven, yada yada. It's a freaking mess. I agree with you. It was horrible. If anyone on the phone should be mad, it should be Steven or Brendan, not their families yelling at them. I agree. But I mean, I'm sure Zellner advised him to be calm. Steven's poor mom and father, they showed here. I agree with you, Ethel. It broke my heart. I literally almost cried in the last video talking about it. It tore me apart. All right. Wolfette, she writes, it looks like a burn spot from the aerial pics. but I've not heard any confirmation that it actually was. Of course, that doesn't mean it wasn't. Shane, you think it's more likely the killers were Scott and Bobby rather than Teresa's ex-boyfriend? I've always said it was Scott and Bobby. I've yet to sway from it. I've always said that Ryan was involved in the cover-up, but there were too many lies by Scott and Bobby for me not to make them my first suspects. And if you don't know what they can or can't do, people stupidly allow cops to do what they want. You would think so, Stephanie, but I mean, he just got out of 18 years in prison. You'd think you'd be a little smarter. You're welcome, Shane. She was killed out on the county land. Bobby's wife looks a lot like TY. Who's TY? Oh, TH? Oh, I don't think so. I think Bobby's wife's hideous. Think they've resurfaced Cuss Road since then. Yeah, I wonder what happened to all the land. Like in MAM1, it was like beautiful and green, and now it just all looks gross. It's swampy. I wonder what happened. John, I know she was no beauty, but they, to me, don't look anything alike. You're gay. You don't even like women. Especially Bobby. He put TH in SA's house, then changed it. Yeah, he constantly lied. I meant Barb not knowing her rights. Barb not knowing her rights. Agreed. But she should have known her rights. That's what I'm saying. She should have. They don't take care of it anymore. Got older. I know, but I don't know why they don't take care of it. Did Bobby's wife leave him? No. I hope so. Someone needs to protect those kids since Ellie isn't. It's very true. But when we can't connect the dots at Ryan, Bobby, and Scott, yes, I agree. Huh. So you have 3 prime suspects. Absolutely. Quarry is right there. That's why it looks swampy. Yeah, but it didn't look swampy in the past. Like mow the lawn or something. And MAM2, I like the Josh R. Yeah, he was my number 1 target for a while. I was convinced that he was the killer just because he lied too. But Zellner totally cleared him, and I have no reason to doubt her. I have a question. Have they proved the bones belong to Teresa? I don't think she has yet. She's hinted, though, that the bones were Teresa. At least one set of bones were Teresa's, but she hasn't confirmed all of it. Also, what about the woman found dead in a motel room? Was about the same age. She was in a motel room. That we talked about that earlier. That was Carmen. It was her grandmother's house, and she died on November 3rd. We don't really know if they were connected or not. We may never know if they were totally connected. I think Scott married Barb to cover up something with this murder. Nah, because they were already dating long before this murder. Zellner should find a legit psychic on the case for MAM3. It's an idea. You think they will do more MAM? I don't know, actually. I would hope so, but I guess it sees how well this one did. Most compelling part of MAM2 was listen to judges talk about how they were literally sick listening to the cops chorus BD. Yeah, but it didn't get anywhere, John. That's the problem. It didn't go anywhere. He's still sitting in jail. Thanks, Kate. You rock too. Can we get a comment for the family group? Zellner just ignores them. The fuck do I care about the family group? They've kicked me out 2 years ago. The only person I know that gets kicked out of rooms just as much as me is John. 3 side of a defense. 4 with the state. Offer big reward. Watch answers come in. Now, this is way beyond money. Jamila, they said MAM3 in about 3 years. Oh, they did say it? Zellner was urging people to rate it on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes to let them know how we feel so they know to make more. Yeah, but if they're not out in 3 years, like I don't think majority of people are going to really be interested in another the way 2 was. I could be wrong, but I mean we already have all the experts, so I don't know what they would make it about if they weren't out. I'd like to see them out. She didn't care much to make comment for us. Well, Allie, what are you talking about? Um, um, come on, I'm lost, Allie. Larry and Allie, I don't get it. I may have to release in life after. John, I agree. I hope so. Like Paradise Lost, I really hope so. When I first saw Zelda the first time in the series, I have directly the series damaged in my mind. Huh? First time in the series, I've directly. Yeah, Karina, I don't get the family group either. If he's talking about the family group, like the. So he's talking about you guys. Larry likes to do this, but if he's talking about you guys, I love you guys. And okay, big shout out, Larry. Larry just likes pushing buttons. But if you're talking about like the family group on Facebook, yeah, that's not happening. Wonder if Bobby pressured Barb to sell the van because he knew Teresa did photos. I don't think so, Robert. I don't think Bobby had anything to do with that. Since you can't agree BD confession was false, do you think he will say, who said I didn't say BD's confession was false? Of course it's false. Do you think he will sit there till his time? No, I think he'll get out. Since they can't agree, BD, since they can't agree. I thought you said since I can't agree. Laura, I know you figured out who this Juan is that made them videos. Can you spill the beans? I can't, Rebecca. I've actually spoken to him. He's a very nice guy. He's very down to earth. He's not like a Scott Walker or anything like that. That's what I can say, but I mean I would never rat him out like that. But he's a good guy. How could Stephanie Zellner said it wouldn't let him do an Alford plea, and honestly I don't blame them. Family group sounds like an episode of Catfish. I think Scott married Barb. My phone's ringing from somewhere. Nope, can't do it. Okay. I think Scott married Barb so she could testify against him. I thought of that too. I did. That's the only reason why they got married. No, for Bobby, the crime presented himself. Zellner, don't. Yeah, I said that already. Zellner said she wouldn't do it. I think the TH was a target of opportunity rather than being set up for the kill. Yeah, I don't think that they intended to like kill her. I don't think they intended to set her up. I think it was just a matter of circumstance. About MAM 3, I've read that they will bring out a season 3, but it may come. Yeah, that's what they said about 3 years. That's somebody else said earlier. I kind of wish they showed what Brendan's life is like in prison. Believe me, prison sucks. I've never been to prison, but I did do county, and it sucks. It's boring. It's Barb's, and you know they're in a maximum security. That's like no joke. I answered a question about Larry's family group comment. If you're still curious, oh, you did? Where? Damien was on Facebook Live. Oh, Damien was on Facebook Live at the press conference. He asked Zellner to make a comment for the family group, and she was like, "Nah, I'm good." I remember that. Laura got to go now. Bye, John. I'll see you soon. Isn't Brendan relying on Zellner's winning because he's out of cards to play? I think so, Stephanie. I really do. Shane, I'm sure the prison wouldn't let cameras in. You really wouldn't want to see it. I mean, it's very boring. I mean, I'm sure maximum security prison is a lot worse. But I mean, it's not a fun place. He probably goes to church a lot. But I mean, he does sound a lot more educated than he did when he went in. The scenes of the family sitting around, no one ever talks. It's pure silence. That's true. Definitely not Italian, John. Brendan's next step is doing what Stephen is doing now. His attorneys are working on that. What else you guys got? If it turns out that Steve and Brendan own family killed Teresa, how fucked up is that? I'm pretty sure, Kate, that's how it's gonna turn out. I truly believe that. Whether Zellner brings it to light or not, or charges them, I don't know. But if it's the only way to get her client out, she's gonna do it. Brad Schimmel says in episode 8 that the interrogation of Brenda was a typical interrogation. No, it wasn't. And my answer, if I was his attorney, my answer would have been, is it typical that you send people away for a weekend as well? That's how I see it. What happened to special care exactly? 70, it's been a debate. Dolores is awesome. She is such a sweetheart. Yeah, tell me you guys didn't laugh when she said they call me Mama Avery. I had a laugh. I was like, because we do call Mama Avery. You don't scare me, Steve said Scott. Except, well, I mean, how could he scare him? Special care got stomped by 8. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't get that whole thing. Like, I mean, I get it, the anti-terrorism law, but I didn't know that that played such a part. All right, John. You don't scare me. I says, Mama Avery. Yeah. Steven has scanned Scott his ass. I'm afraid the boys will be in danger when released like Casey Anthony. I think Steven is. I don't think Brendan is. It was one night. It wasn't a vacation. It was supposedly for their protection. Their protection against one. Steven was in jail. What are they protecting him from? Did the dogs ever hit on Avery property? I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure though. I thought perhaps an accident with Mike and Ryan, and they dumped off the car, but not all the pieces fit in. Kathy F. the setup to plant the stuff. Yeah, if I remember correctly, like the dogs couldn't get on at first, because of his dogs. It was some weird thing. Do you think the government won't let them out because he will sue again, release? It's not the government, it's the state. Because if they get out, you know damn well that it was proven that everybody is corrupt, and they will all lose their pensions. I mean, there's a lot more at stake right now than $36 million. It's way deeper. I think Zellner will walk on corpses to get Steven out. I agree with you, VR. Totally. You have to do rounds on the neighbor's property, looking at 43 million. It's not a matter of millions. You're talking a lot of people losing their pensions. If they're not retired yet, it's a lot at stake. Reasonable doubt is out the window. Oh, reasonable doubt never existed in this case. They had everything to lose. Yeah, but the $36 million was going to come out of the state money. It wasn't going to be them individually. I mean, then again, that's been a debate too, but it was more about it was more about the state than it was. Now it's personal. Like now they could go after the state and each and every one of them to lose their pensions and everything. Maybe Stephen and Brenda will just buy Wisconsin and fire them all. Get rid of fucking what's his name? Scott Walker. Can state secret privilege be invoked in one piece of evidence, or can state secret privilege, what do you mean, be invoked on one piece of evidence, or does it apply to the case as a whole? I think it applies to the case at whole. Will any of them see jail time if they can prove wrongdoing? I don't think they're going to see jail time. I think it's more of a civil matter because the case was so long ago. I'm actually going to watch season 2 again. Yeah, I watched it twice. I'm going for a third time. And John, I thought you left already. Just to let you guys know, though, I noticed that Casey's doing. Someone told me she's doing the videos 1 through 10. I don't want to do the same videos as her, so I'm going to go backwards. She's doing 1 through 10. I'm going to do 10 through 1. So this way we're kind of passing each other. We're not repeating the same shit. So just to let you guys know, my next video will be number 10. They could always release Steven on the condition that he doesn't go after them. I could see that happening. But Zellner won't allow it. So I personally, for Zellner, it's about money and about bragging rights. But she's not gonna she's too high up there. She's not gonna do all this without money. They could release. They should go on Judge Judy. Judge Judy, a tear my new ass. Oh, are you serious, Kathy? She's doing that too. Someone ask her if she's doing 1 through 10 or 10 through 1 because this way we aren't clashing. Zelna puts up all the money. Sliver Sue's where she makes it back. That is correct. Velo. Yeah, I like this vape. Yeah, let me promote a vape. Captain. The big one. It's a good one. Scott, that's basically what an Alford plea and Zellner isn't having. Yeah, she's not. I used to have a smock. That was my first vape, was a smock. To the state, they won't admit they fucked up. They can't now gone too far. I agree with you. They have gone too far, Scott. She's doing 1 through 10. I'm gonna do 10 through 1. This way we're not clashing. Because our first video, I saw some of hers. I was like, all right, this is like the same shit I said. So now I'm going backwards. Favorite one. What was my favorite episode? I like 9, 7, and 9. My favorite. Bye, Karina. Thank you. So Irikos does these live things all the time. Maybe I'll do it like once a week. Because, I have no life. So if they lose for some reason, Zellner would be rethinking that Alford plea. I agree, Stephanie. It might be. But then, that's the other thing, though. They keep using Teresa's family as a, they keep throwing it in there. Poor Teresa, poor Teresa, poor Teresa. I get that, but it's been 10 years. Like, how about poor Stephen and Brendan? They bring her up so much that it's almost phony. What happened to all the money everyone sent in? Well, that's a question that many people want to know. I like 9-10 because that was when the Bobby computer stuff came out and it got like John Boston said something in his video today. It's very true. Why would you look up horse cum? Like, who looks up horse cum? It just makes no sense. You're a sick fuck if you're looking up for horse cum. Instead of doing 10 through 1, why don't you do random series? Because you do random series, you kind of get lost in it, and then you forget what you already spoke about because they're all kind of tied into each other. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will. Which episode showed Bobby's computer? It was either 9 or 10 that showed the computer. Thanks, John. And the real killer living his life. That's exactly right. Whenever they get an awkward question, they fall back. They do fall back on Teresa. I don't think it would ever be allowed. I don't even know if Wisconsin has Alford pleas. Not every state has them. Hi, Amy. Exactly, kid. I have no life, so once a week works. Gabrielle from Brazil, what's up? I always said if I was going to get a boob job, I'd get it done in Brazil because you never see a Brazilian with bad boobs. Meanwhile, my computer has autopsy reports and all that, but I guess that makes more sense than the stuff Bobby looked for. That's very true. Is there anything they can do for Brendan? I don't think so, Amy. I think it's a waiting game. As far as I know, the Supreme Court is as high as you can go. I think now some people say I'm wrong. that he may have other alternatives, but I don't believe so. I think Zellner is his alternative. Good night, Raquel. Thank you for coming. And like I said, if you guys want it, I'll do it once a week. I don't have a problem doing it. It's not like I go out anyway. You found my channel today. Awesome. Go Brazil. It was so sad. No life here. Take care of my kid. I got 3 of them. 2 13-year-olds and a 10-year-old who's almost 11. Brendan can use Zellner's evidence in the filing. His attorneys are working on that. Yeah, but where are they going with it? That's what I'm saying. Who are they giving it to? They are both very lucky in the sense that they didn't get death. That's true. Yes, live stream a week. I'll watch him. Cool, Elite. Jeffrey, I think it's nuts the Supreme Court took the Anna Nicole case, but not Brendan's. I agree with you. I just found you yesterday and joined your Facebook group. Awesome. John, please, Casey is out of bars now. John, stop. I know I missed something here. They're about to start the route that Stephen is currently on. Yeah, but I thought they did all that already. I'll think Brennan can only come out when Zellner wins a kid. I agree with you, VR. John Boston, she was my neighbor. He's talking about Casey Anthony. I thought you meant the other Casey. Do you think that maybe Scott is innocent except for knowing Bobby did something? Crazy. Honestly, I am not sure that Bobby was involved in the actual killing, but I think he was involved in getting rid of the body. But that's just a personal opinion. With the scratching on Bobby's back and the stuff on the CDs, it pretty much looks like Bobby's guilty. John, be nice. Thanks, awesome group. Signing off, fellow no-lifer, Sweet Shane. I'm not liking that there is just one little thing pointing to them being innocent. There is outrageous amount of evidence proving that there is no way Stephen could have done it. I agree with you. Brendan has only gone through federal court. But why didn't he go through regular criminal court, Allie? That I don't know. The things you miss. What's up, Sky Gamers? Nope, goodbye. All right, see ya. Real question. Do you think ultimately the documentaries helped or hurt their cases? It politicized them more, but also have more awareness. I think it definitely helped them. Zellner would have never taken the case without it. I think it got people to open up to the injustices of the world, of the criminal justice system. I think everybody knew that the justice system wasn't perfect, but in my opinion, I think it opened up for people to see how crooked it can be and makes you almost think twice like, well, I don't have to give you that information. I don't have to talk to you just because you're a police officer and you have that right. And because you don't, nothing's going to happen to you. But if you do openly talk to them, what happened to Brendan could happen to you. I think that's a reality that people now realize that most people didn't realize before that. Because he actually had a better chance proving that it's the Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights were violated, so they went to the federal route. Gotcha. Think Scott was in Bobby's blazer. Bobby knocked her out and they left. No, I think Bobby called Scott panicking and said, dude, I need your help. That's what I think happened. 100% helped and helping still. I agree with you. I thought once the case at Supreme Court. Yeah, I thought that too, Stephanie. But what Allie's saying is that they only went the federal way. They didn't try to prove him innocent or anything. They didn't try to do it that way. They just tried to go on the federal level. And this way, now they're going the criminal level. Like now they're going through criminal court that he's innocent instead of just that his rights were violated. They thought it would be easier if they went his rights were violated route. What? If it was Henry in that case, Elno wouldn't have risked being involved. I agree with that. I think the ex and the stepfather killed Teresa and Bobby. Cover it up. Nah, I don't agree with that, VR. I think Bobby's the killer. Scott helped cover it up, and Ryan helped the police. I also think documentaries may made the state fight it more, but I agree with you. It did open up to more of the public in these cases. I mean, to be honest with you, Amy, I'll tell you a personal story. Me and my ex had some, we were together at the time, but we had some issues with a cop in the area. And the cop came to the door, and I'm naive. Like, up until this point, I hadn't even gone to college yet. But I was kind of naive thinking, like, it's a cop. My brother's a cop. Why can't you speak to a cop? And my ex, who had spent time in federal jail for drugs, was like, get the fuck out of my house. You're not staying here. I was like, Brad, what is the big deal? It's why can't we talk to him? You never let a cop in the house. You never let them step foot. I thought he was fucking crazy. I was like, why are you being like this? Cop's like, can I speak to you outside then? I thought the cops were going to arrest him, but you know what? He was right, because the cops may not be your friend and they could drop something and you have no way to cover it. And I never ever knew that until, I still thought he was nuts. But all of a sudden now MAM comes out, and, I remember that night crystal clear. I'm like, wow, you know what? Brad was right. Like, you don't let a cop in your house because they're not your friends. So I think that opened up to more and more people. They did go to district courts first. That's why they came. That's why they stuff about Kaczynski. Yeah, how he's not gone, I have no idea. This way it's harder now. Take 2-3 years. Right. Still relating to Brendan's rights being violated. Hi, Melissa. VR, I think we might just wait and drink a tea until MAM3 or new news comes out. Tony Henry, don't talk to cops ever. See? That's what I'm saying. And I still, the majority of the public, majority of America, the majority of the world has the view, if you have nothing to hide, then don't hide it. But if someone is out to get you, and I don't mean like kill you, I mean like a cop, if somebody wants to frame you, they know exactly how to do it, and they will take advantage of somebody because they know that most people are like, well, if you have something to hide. One thing, John, say nothing. Casey Anthony trial, a lot of people said about how her father's demeanor was. Her father's demeanor was exactly what lawyers tell you to act like. They want you to act like that. They want you to be completely, non-facial expressions and everything. So he acted the way you're supposed to act on a stand. A lot of people don't know that. I think, Laura, we must pass on. Don't talk up Sarah. Barb's in her house. It's sad it's come to this. I agree with you, Amy. But if Bobby killed her and Ryan helped the police, why or how would Ryan have entered the picture to help the cops? Going back to what we said before, because I really believe that he helped them because they one, to take focus off him because he did something. But it could be because she was the love of his life and they were covering it up, and he believed that Stephen really killed him. Ryan was part of the investigation. Ryan was part of the cover-up. I'm glad. Nobody doubted Zellner, John. John, $1,000 monthly payment, but don't have money to see my son in jail. Exactly. Hey, Carrie. Just got off work. You missed it. We're going almost 2 hours. Does Barb and Scott live where the trucker had? Scott used to live there. Barb didn't. So Barb was on Avery property, but Scott lived like 10 miles from it or something. Ryan had a lot in this case. I agree. I love KZ. I think cops said, I just want to be KZ when I grow up. I think cops said we know who did it, but don't have any evidence. Possibly. I don't think the cops, SD helped us. T helped without knowing he did. Who's SD? I'm lost. I know ST. Just funny how Ryan scratched his arm up that time. That could be anything, though. Personally, though, he could have scratched it up. I always said from the branches. that the branches by the car, I personally believe, and this is where I think I disagree with Zellner. She thinks Bobby drove the car up. I don't. I think Ryan did. I think Ryan's the one that had the bushes because those scratches go right along with branches, and those branches were all over the car. So that's just my own observation. Like says his son, even worse than that, they could buy a fucking house. Meanwhile, Brendan's using a public defender. Most people use public defenders, though. No, most people on trial for murder will use a public defender because it's hundreds of thousands of dollars with no guarantee. No, Casey Anthony really is out of bars. The planner is the key. Yeah, it's not just a planner though. It's also, and this is stuck in my mind. I don't remember a lot from 2 years ago, but this is stuck in my mind. Is that her memory card for her camera that was burned was in the back of the truck. Do you really fucking think Stephen and Brendan took out her memory card for her camera and said, well, before we burn this, let's leave the pictures for a family? Get the fuck out of here. Like, not even possible. Did Ryan have a scratch on some sort of his neck? I don't know. Public defender is for the state, not you really. Oh, I agree with you 100%, Tammy. Yeah, but they're not buying new houses when they're supposed to be broke for an attorney. But I agree with you, but I think they bought the house before all of this went or right after. I can't say that. I don't remember. I don't want to say no. Message retracted. Uh-oh. Good point. A lawyer's letting 100 to 500 an hour. Murder lawyers, I think, are even more than that. And they charge you for every single piece of paper. Oh, that is very true. I learned that the hard way. No, I don't think they would take her memory card out. Nobody would. The only person that would take a memory card out is somebody setting her up because they don't want to burn her pictures, like let her family have the pictures. The whole thing, why that they made an issue about that. Oh, we found a memory card in the back. Yeah, okay. There was no memory card in the camera. And they bought the house during Stephen's trial. Brendan was much later. Had his own to pay for everything. Oh, Zellner's fucking loaded. She does this for free. She does it for free on pro bono. That's why she won't take cases unless she really truly believes they're innocent, because she'll make money. Now, I can assure you, though, that with all the press she's gotten from Avery, she's taken on cases for cash that she would have never got otherwise. Not that she wouldn't be a great attorney, don't get me wrong, but I mean, she was a great Chicago attorney. Now she's a worldwide attorney. I'm sure she's made money on the Avery case tenfold in other ways. She's worth millions. I don't know what she's worth, but I know she's worth multi-millions. I mean, just like on 4 of her cases, she's won like 10 million. She gets a third of that. Pro bono means that you work for the after. Like, you don't get paid anything up front. You're working because you believe you're going to get a payout after. It's not guaranteed, but you're expecting a payout in the end. So you do everything up front for free. That's a pro bono is. Where'd the chat go? There you go. It's Scott, but it's not totally free because you do expect a payout in the end, or you hope for a payout in the end. Zellner probably gets 40% or more. It's 33%. I think it's standard law. It's federal law. It's 33%. She also has 2 other lawyers. Yeah, all her lawyers are young too. Yeah, but any lawyer that works on murder cases and stuff pro bono is gonna sue at the end, though. Has anyone else watched Dream Killer? I have. I've seen some of it. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't see Dream Killer, but I saw another story about how he got busted, how he went to jail, and the whole case, and it was very weird. You can tell she talks that she isn't in this for the money. I think she started in it for the publicity, but I think I mean, I don't think she realized how innocent they were until her experts. That's my own personal opinion. I've never talked to her. I never called her. She never called me. But I honestly believe, originally she took this case for the publicity. Not that she needed it, but I mean, it can't hurt. And then after all the experts, she really realized that, you know what, he really is innocent. And I think that's when she actually cared more about the case. But again, that's just a personal opinion. Love you too, John. Now you're finally leaving. She'll stress to find a real killer and not just get us. I agree. The very best part of the entire MAM is when we find exactly what led to the phone call, the call. But I agree with you, Stephanie. I totally agree with you. Zellner's Ryan Ferguson case. Allie, yeah, that's Dream Killer. But you knew that. I'm just reiterating. You want to work for Zellner? I'm telling her I want to be Zellner. I have never seen a lawyer, and I've seen a few, but I've never seen a lawyer have somebody else hand in their documents while they're standing there. I don't know if she did it for show. I don't know if it's because it was in a movie, but I saw that. I was like, God damn, I want to be Zellner when I grow up. I mean, that's high. That's incredible. That's like, whoa. So, yeah. Yeah, but she's a good lawyer. I mean, there's no doubt. And she's got her hands full in Chicago, though. I'll tell you that much. What's up, Rebecca? Who cried? Wouldn't you cry? I'd cry if I spent fucking 10 years in jail and knowing I was innocent. Damn right I'd cry. Be a miserable mess. Is it common for the DA to do media interviews? Oh, hell no. Before the cast and put out the info wouldn't be enough to get a mistrial. I have no idea what anyone was thinking during that press conference. I would love to just ask Kratz what the fuck was he thinking. That's the one thing he says, oh, I regret it, and that's one thing I regret. Fuck you. Like that. How do you even do that? Like, I don't even get me started on that. Can you explain about the call the cop made to dispatch with the plate numbers? Then the car was found in yard. Yes, we went through this, Scott, earlier, but I'll reiterate. Colburn called in, saw a car supposedly on his day off, license plate number, and called it in to dispatch. Dispatch says, yes, that's a missing girl. When Colburn was questioned on it, Colburn said, I wasn't looking at it. I wasn't there. When it was so blatantly obvious that he was looking at it, because nobody just calls in a random fucking plate. So then in MAM2, you realize that, the guessing of, did he see it on the side of the road? Was he driving by? Did somebody tell him it was there? All that was gone, because one of Scott Tadich's friends saw him and said, hey, there's a car over there. Maybe it was busted up, whatever. So that's really interesting. Speaking of cars, though, this is the one thing I don't understand. I was going to put this in my next video, too. Why are they hiding evidence? Like, why is Zellner not allowed to look at this light? Why is she not allowed to study the car? Like, I don't even know how that's legal. Like, she's on appeal. She should be able to use anything that was in trial. So that's something I'm going to look more into, because I don't get that. I don't see how she's not entitled to all of it. Daniel Huskow's 4,000 innocent. I don't know about that. How can we get past the judges who are the state? I have no idea how we're getting past those judges, Rebecca. Absolutely none. Still in uniform a day off. You guys are on a different case. No, I don't think he was still in uniform. I think he was off uniform. How much do you think the $36 million lawsuit? I I don't know. I don't think it was. Everybody says it's 36 million. I don't think that was as much as it was the reputations. I don't think as much it was everybody losing their jobs and their pensions and everything when they found out it was a setup. The ramifications of that, I think that weighed a lot more than $36 million, because he wouldn't get $36 million. You know, he would have got a couple million, but he wouldn't have got 36 million. So I think the totality of it was a lot bigger than just the money. But again, that's just my opinion. Maybe you can do a live stream while you watch an MAM episode. We did that in another room. My ex-boyfriend showed me a room that we did it in because Tammy actually didn't know, didn't have Netflix and couldn't watch MAM. So I'm willing to do that. We did it through this Rabbit app. So you guys want to do that? That's fine by me. Like, it's just like this. Anybody can do it. And I already have a room in there called MAM 2. So if you guys want, I can link it on my next video. I could probably do it now. And we can totally do that as well. Pick an episode. Zellner will be entitled to all the state's evidence when she's granted evidence. True, but she's still on appeal. She should still be able to get it. RAV4 is a major piece of evidence in this case, and they won't let her have it. Can they do that? Yep, explained. And MAM2, Kathleen Zellner said the damage blinker is the big piece of the evidence in the RAV4. Yeah, and she can't have it. You could do it here. Just tell us when to start the video. Oh, we could do that, Amy. That's fine. Pick an episode. What episode you guys want to go? Fucking coal burner is what made the light bulb turn on for me. Yeah, that did the coal burn thing. Plus, you know, that's another thing. Was they had Steve and Allie help me out on this because I don't remember. Again, I'm going to fuck up the dates. I don't remember it. They had Stephen in custody before Stephen was in custody, where they had Stephen in custody for murder or homicide before Stephen was even arrested. I don't remember exactly, but it was something along that. Allie, did you hear me? Like, what was that? I can't remember exactly, but that was, a lot of people don't know that or remember that either. But yeah, Stephen was held in custody on a homicide charge before he was even arrested. And on that paper, it said that, you know, like he was in there for homicide. It was like on the 5th or the 6th, but it was either before he was arrested or before they charged him. It was something crazy. I'll have to find the document. Do you want to get a copyright strike? It's an FYI. Oh, Marissa's right. I probably would get a copyright strike. I'm not sure if you address this, but how do you find child porn on not charges brought up on that person? I say the same thing. I didn't get that either. Like, why, if there was that much stuff on it, why wasn't he arrested? I totally agree with you. Bye, Scott. Yeah, Allie, the police record that showed that he was arrested for homicide before he was even arrested or something. John's back. A car was found on the SY, so he says do we have Avery in custody? No, not that, Rebecca. That I agree with you, but there was an actual police document that had Avery in jail, or Avery for homicide before he was ever charged for homicide. I thought because he had a .22 rifle. That's it. That whole bullet thing is so stupid. That whole gun thing. They fucking had the gun in custody. Gee, can you shoot it? Of course it came from there. I mean, these people were not the neatest people. Of course you're going to see shit all over. You know, they were deer hunters. They're proud deer hunters. They love to kill. And that's another thing. You don't see Stephen or Brandon sitting there with bears or deers. You know, I haven't seen one picture of either one of them for killing. I think what you're talking about is Stephen was named as a suspect for homicide on the day Teresa was reported missing. That's what it was. when she was just a missing person. Yeah. Stephen was named on a police record as a suspect for homicide the day Teresa was reported missing when nobody even knew she was dead. That's what it was. Do we have any updates since MAM2? No, not at all. Not that I know of. They had him on the gun and a person of interest for non-negligent homicide. Yeah, before they even knew anything. Hi, Renee from Minnesota. But the fact that your ex-boyfriend had the planner, what are your thoughts? That the ex-boyfriend had the planner? That he definitely was in the car, but hands down. Start a GoFundMe account and offer the millions to anyone who comes forward with info leading to the real killers. Shit, I'll start a GoFundMe to get Kratz, a live one-on-one with me. But that's meat in your freezer with no chemicals. Dear, great eating. Bah, Tammy, gross. Bambi. Kill poor Bambi. Yeah, I'm not a hunter. I'm not even into guns. That's just not my thing. But maybe that's just growing up in New York City. If you had a gun, you were either criminal or you're trying to protect your family. He just grew up on it. I know, and I'm not downing hunters and stuff. A lot of people do it and it's perfectly okay. It's just not something that for me. Laura thinks weed is bad too. I do think weed is bad. I don't think the world should go around smoking. I don't think I want my kids stoned. I grew up on deer, rabbit. Gross. I grew up on deer, rabbit, snake, fox, and squirrel. I would. Ugh. Steak, pig, cow, turkey, chicken, eggs. And this the way it started, money. That's true. It's not bad, Laura cures things. Ugh. Do you think the bones are Carmen's? I don't know, Stephen. I honestly don't. I think half of them may be. I don't know. I don't see Avery getting out without proof. He was set up. His conviction. Yeah, they're gonna need a judge to really fucking notice them. That they're not gonna have a choice. They have to get a good judge. As far as the planner, why would Ryan know to keep that but burn everything else? Oh, I don't think he burned everything else. I think Ryan's the one that took the memory card out. I think Ryan's the one that took the day planner out. I think Ryan planned that because Ryan had the car. I don't doubt, and this is just again personal opinion, I don't doubt that Zellner, not Zellner, I don't doubt that when Colburn found the car, maybe they called Ryan and that's when they got all that stuff out. Just a personal feeling. So you say you think Bobby did and Ryan helped the cops plant evidence, but what I want to know is how or why would Ryan have even came into the picture to help the cops? Because he was obsessed with Teresa. She wanted nothing to do with him and he was obsessed with her. Avery and white privilege can't be used in the same sentence. Ain't that the truth? Melissa, I've always loved the show Forensic Files, but man, oh man, Zellner is more than that with this. That's because she's traveling all over the world, to get like the best expert in every field. I commend her for that. Let's see. With all the hype and exposure the original MAM created, do you think there would have been more of an outcry if SABD hadn't been white privileged males? So that's where the white privilege came from. Honestly, Luck, my feeling about that is I do not think that anyone thought they were white privileged. I think they've been treated far worse than any black that I've seen. But on the flip side, if they were black, I'm not sure it would have gotten the same attention. So if that's what you mean by white privilege, possibly. So many of TH's bones still missing. There's so much missing. There's her teeth that are missing, her spine that's missing, and the whole thing. The thing that bothers me the most, that really gets to me, is how do you not have a coroner there? How do you not have a CSI team there? It just doesn't make sense. Like, you have to have a CSI team. You just do. It's like protocol. Oh, you never know. I'm sorry, like, I didn't know if you were. I don't know why the cops would ever reach out to Ryan to help them or take the planner. I don't get that part. I think because they knew that Ryan was such a good source, and who else to help them. I mean, I don't think, and let me rephrase that. I don't believe that Ryan knows that there was this big, I don't think Ryan knows that it was this big conspiracy and he thinks the cops set her up and everything. That I don't believe. I do believe, though, that they may have filled Ryan in a little. I mean, also remember, though, the more, it's like telephone, the more people you tell, somebody's going to talk. So I really don't think that many people were involved in this conspiracy. I think it was very few. And I think it's kept very few. Ryan was almost like a pawn that they played. And that's how I've always seen it. So if he was so obsessed with what would be a motive for helping the cop frame Steven, it's exactly right. I agree. Steven's mom has Alzheimer's. It's so sad. I know, Amy. It tugged at me. Absolutely tugged at me. K Hollow. Black people fill prisons for life sentences for drugs. That's worse by far. However, I did some research on this, and I remember this from school, that blacks fill up prisons for small crimes. White people are far more on death row than blacks by a large percentage. So whites do cause bigger crimes and more serious crimes. Blacks fill up jails with bullshit crimes. That's fact. It's like 5-1 on death row for whites. Can't believe Wagner signed someone else's name on an evidence bag and then turned it. I don't understand why they did any of the shit they did. But there was a coroner, but she was kicked out and told her if she investigated, she would get arrested. Yeah, it's crazy to me. Crazy. Guys, I got to put you on a hold for a minute. I got to go to the bathroom. So if you want to take a bathroom break, how do I pause this? Can I pause it? I don't think I could pause it. I pause it? Is there a pause? Bye, VR. Do you guys want to cut it for now? And we'll pick back up next week. Don't pause. I got to pee. Love you. Just walk away for a few. All right, I'll be back. Ooh. Hey, puppy. I got to take puppy out, so you guys got to wait a few minutes. I'll be right back. Shut up, Larry. Yeah, it's still going on. Hang on. Talks amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. right, I'm back. I brought Puppy with me. All right. Rules on what I miss. We went to the. We talked amongst yourselves. All I see is corruption. I totally agree with you. There's so much corruption. I know, isn't he cute? Say hi, Winsty. He's my baby. Right? You're my little puppy. You're my little puppy. What? Do you believe Avery is innocent or there is doubt in the case? I don't believe there's any doubt in the case. Let me rephrase that. I can't say for sure that he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, but I do believe that he should not be in jail because of what happened. Whether guilty or not guilty, but I just don't see him killing her. I said the rest of the coroner should try to get involved in the case. Yeah, they did say that. I had to take my earrings out. The cops, I'm not so sure the cops moved the car. I think Ryan moved the car. I don't think it was the cops. I think it was Ryan. Say hi, puppy. Say hi. Say hi. I know, so I took my earrings out. Say hi. Whoops. He's small. He's only like 5 pounds. He's full grown now, too. He's almost a year. I still call him a puppy, though. He's still my little baby. Then the police just planted all the evidence, yeah. I don't know who started it, though. I don't know if it was the police that started it, if Kratz started it. Somebody started it. How did any of them? That's why I think Ryan did it. I really believe Ryan moved that car. Whoops. I don't think the cops would be dumb enough to get caught riding it, but Ryan, there could have been an excuse if for some reason they got caught. You know, it's possible. The Angels dropped the car in place and then came Pam Strum. Absolutely. Ryan did lots, maybe. True. I still don't think Ryan killed her, though. I never did. Please move across. But Tanya, I don't totally agree with that, though. If they would have got caught by Avery, why are they driving the car? It's more explainable if Ryan was. You got eye goober. You got an eye goober. They investigated themselves and found Avery guilty. And let's not forget Miss Wendy. I'm surprised she wasn't interviewed. So not everyone, Ashley. A lot of people think Ryan did it. Tammy will tell you Ed Edwards did it, but that we know is false. Quit my tactical smile about the sub. All right. Happy face. Ryan, you just cut out. Does chat drop out for you guys too? Ryan had to be moved the car. I agree, Marissa. I really think it was Ryan that moved the car. Do you think Ryan and the cops are conspiring? I honestly don't. If Ryan's not the killer, I really don't think that he knew how deep the cops were in. Honestly. It's easy to find the only two people you investigate guilty. Very true. Oh, his cousin Sandra Morris along the way. Oh, please. That's a joke and a half. You got an eye booger. I think there was many involved. There couldn't have been many involved. You can't. It's like I said. It's like a game of telephone. You can't have too many people knowing that the corruption. You just can't. Hey, Simon Phoenix. My son's name is Phoenix. Love that name. Is there any way around the Sheboygan judge? She won't give Stephen a retrial. Zellner has to find a way around it. She just has to. Ryan conspired. Why didn't the cops ask Ryan his whereabouts? Probably because they needed him for the setup, which is also why I think that that's why Ryan moved the car. I think because they needed Ryan. Murders who have gotten away with it will lay low for a while and then do it again. That's why I think Bobby's a serial killer. Like, you don't see Ryan with pictures of all proud that he killed things. Where you do see Scott and Bobby. Let me tell you, I also think Mike, Ryan's friend, not Ryan's friend, Bobby's friend, could also be involved. If you go on, I don't know if he still has it open, but on Bobby's Facebook, there was so many pictures of him and Mike that really made it look like that it could be Mike too. I believe Zellner had asked for a different judge. She needs to recuse that judge. Absolutely. Stop biting me. I'm not sure how much Scott is involved either. Murder isn't nice. Whoever did it should be hit. Agreed. Calls between Ryan and the cops that Zellner brought out. I saw a ton of pics of Mike. Yeah, Tammy, right? But Mike just seemed weird to me. Based on how Ryan looked at the beginning of season 1, he looked like he could have been into drugs. So being offered money for drugs. Yeah, I think they were all just potheads, honestly. How is Barb moving forward now? We're still totally off a rocker. Of course she is. Or is she going to look at evidence? Barb doesn't give a shit about evidence. Barb's more worried about how her husband looks. You want to get down? Stop biting me. Ryan Selbill tells quite a story. You think Zellner can go to Governor? Rick Scott wouldn't give a shit less. Says the judge won't do anything. You mean Scott Walker? Well, they all look nervous and very little eye contact. No way multiple people involved. Yeah, I agree, Kay Hollow. I don't think there were that many people involved. Yeah, I was like, Governor Scott, wrong state. Bobby may have killed her alone, Amy, but I'm a firm believer that Scott helped dispose of the body. Anyone else see Kratz tweet about how he could take down Zellner? Of course he did. Oh, if she was going against me, I'd beat her. Yeah, okay, Kratz. Amy, I totally agree. I really believe that Bobby has killed more. I honestly and truly believe that. I heard Barb gave Zellner the computer. That's another thing I seem to question. Why the fuck do they even still have this damn computer? It's like, what, 10 years old? 12 years old? Why do you still have it? Hey, David. I'd like to know more about the people listed who was asked to partake and did not. What's their story? That's a big list. I don't know why people wouldn't want to be involved, actually. I mean, innocent or guilty, if you're trying to prove your case, then do it worldwide. I don't get it. I like time I'm Dylan's show, but it was so perfect that it didn't seem realistic. If Dassey did this, I'm not sure if he killed her and burned the body. Well, that's where I think Scott comes into play. If Bobby's a serial killer, it makes sense they found multiple human remains. That's what I'm saying, Simon. It's exactly what I'm saying. And that hit me last week before I made that video. I'm like, you know what? People don't kill and just kill once. Like, I really think he is a serial killer. I think he's killed more than just Teresa, if he turns out to be the killer. What? You got an eye booger. I'm trying to get it. But why would Scott just agree to be involved? Because, all right, think about this, Kay. Your best friend calls you up, your stepson, your stepdaughter, whoever calls you up and says, look, I'm fucked. I got into a jam. I need help. I killed this girl and I don't know what to do with the body. And help me. I'm scared. Help me. And then all of a sudden, there's Scott involved in it. It happens all the time. How about Kratz? Yeah, I don't understand why Kratz is on that list. Kratz, all he does is fucking talk. I would never help my best to get rid of a body. It's a man thing. I don't know. Wasn't that someone that worked? But then again, maybe Bobby lied to Scott. Maybe he said that, he was in a car accident with this girl and, now he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't want to get arrested. And we have no idea. We may never know. Can't believe they just kept a hard drive and didn't present it. I agree. Like I said, type of fantasy does not run. Vanilla, it only gets worse. Agreed. State needs to give. Yeah, I don't get the secret with the broken headlight. Yep. Hey, who you biting, you little shit? Who you biting? Now you're getting down. Meanie. Avery lawyers were horrible. They sure in hell were. They did not give a shit. They could care less. They got their $200,000. That's all they cared about. She riled up. I don't blame her. I'd be riled up too. I'd want evidence. Give me my evidence. Police would have to access crematory. But here's the other thing, which I think Zellner has going against her. The state can pick and choose what things to give her. And the sad reality is, if some of it is, twisted, who's to say it's all not corrupt? Who's to say any of that evidence is even legit? That's what she has going against her. Strang and Brooding were great. Are you fucking kidding me, John? They were not great at all. The puppy riled him up. Though the puppy riled up. Chat went out again. I know my chat keeps going out. Now it's not coming back. There we go. And with Barb having been arrested, I believe December of that year, that's true. It could have been that Bobby was intoxicated and that's why he needed help. Avery really needs security cameras on the property. I don't think that Avery thought that it was going to go down like that. And honestly, who would? I wouldn't think it was going to go down like that. I just figured, okay, it was a false, confession. And you let me out of jail and that was it. Can we pour gasoline on Carla Chase and toss her into the fire? Be nice. One of the lawyers said if he makes Senate, he will have them exonerated. Yeah, okay. Can I ask what murder case we're talking about? Making a murderer too. Are any of you guys on the Chris Watts case, by the way? I know some of you are, but are a lot of you following the Chris Watts case? Anyone? No one? Because I'm going to be doing videos on that too once the trial starts. Chris Watts is the one in Colorado that murdered his wife and kids. And he's Chris White. He's a good-looking white guy who, in his early 30s, seemed to have a loving family, and he wiped out his whole family. He buried his 2 young daughters in an oil barrel at work, and his whatchamacallit, and he buried his pregnant wife in a shallow grave by his work. But right now, like, all the groups around it are just troll groups. There's no, like, real factual, because there's no facts yet. Has anyone seen a YouTube video of Louder with Crowder where he interviewed Steven? I think I have seen that, actually. Yes, Chris Watts. Yeah, I'm going to be covering that once the trial starts. Amy, do I think Chris Watts did it? Oh, fuck yeah. I think he killed all 3 of them. I think he's a complete psychopath. Why do that case? He is sick in the head. He is sick in the head, but there's a lot to it. Do I think he's innocent? Absolutely not. I think he killed all 3. Though I haven't heard much for facts so far, just theories, not so much to the moment. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not doing any videos on it, because all the groups are just fucking troll groups, and it's more funny and entertaining than anything. I watch Law and Crime and Longtime Court TV. I've seen the worst of the worst. Just watch Chris Love. I don't know Chris Love. On Bobby's latest interview with the investigator, he just focused in out clearing his name. Absolutely. He did it for sure, 100%. Chris Watts is the death row people you're referring to? Yes. There's a spider on the wall behind you. There better not be a spider on the wall behind me. No spider. No spider. My Georgia ticket that I paid. Is there really a spider? Where? I don't see a spider. I don't see a spider. Was the medical examiner or coroner? Hold on, I'm jumping ahead. Is the coroner not allowed the fire pit? Nobody knows why they weren't allowed. Even the coroner was shocked that they weren't allowed. I don't see a spider either. I know one reason I'm interested is I want to know if those poor babies were alive or dead when Shanna got home. I think they were dead, but I know as much as you guys do. As you know, nobody knows anything in this case yet. Had one person pull her out of the RAV4 without smearing blood everywhere. First spot, the RAV4 without smearing blood. Nobody knows. I mean, there's so many questions about the RAV4, and they're not letting Zellner see it yet. Maybe I'm baked. But in situation, it's just horrible. I agree with you. No evidence to back up. Yep. What's up with the RAV4? I think the green-blue thing, I think that's just the color. I wouldn't look too into that. It was rather disturbing when Stephen told Steve Trotter, I threw the cat on the fire like I did that woman. But knowing as Stephen talks, I don't ever remember hearing that. I threw the cat on the fire like I did that woman. That doesn't make sense. I can't say. I know, right? Now I'm looking for a spider too. I keep looking. Brandon had multiple interviews with interrogators. Seemed like he tried to stick with the story for a while. Not sure what 2 colors, hon. Why is that? Because it looked blue and it looked green. It really depended on who you asked. Barb just said on Facebook that someone must have switched hard drives. Oh my God. Are you serious, Larry? She really just said that? So Barb just said on Facebook that someone must switch hard drives on her computer because her boys aren't like that. Okay. Why can't she see what? Me, a spider or Barb? Ashley, he was scared and he was slow. I agree with that. Someone else had a blue one. There isn't any spider. I think they were dead too. Would be a heated argument for sure. All right, Marissa, we're going back and forth here. I don't even believe that there was a heated argument. I believe he attacked her as soon as she walked in, or as soon as she came up the steps, or on the couch, and that's why her phone was in the couch. Maybe they planted her blood just like Avery's. It was on the Louder with Chowder video. I don't remember that. And it was him actually saying it. Was he saying it like a joke? Yeah, I would have to see that. I don't remember that. Yep, a couple of hours ago because of the porn stuff. Well, I know why he did it, but that's Barb though. She's always gonna stick up for her precious Bobby. Because that's what someone did. It's a frame setup. And it very well might be true, but you know what? Who switched it out was your husband. Because they knew 10 years later that somebody was going to look for that hard drive. Give me a fucking break. All right. Simon Phoenix, do you remember why Manitowoc were allowed anywhere? They were not supposed to be allowed. That was the thing. They were supposed to be blocked from being allowed on the property. Barb doesn't want to be alone. She lost her son and her other kids are suspects, plus her hubby. She wouldn't survive. They all went away. She needs them. That's true. Elite, are you able to link in Laura's group? I'd like to see that. Simon, they were supposed to be providing equipment. Yeah, I'd like to see that too, Elite. I don't remember that. Oh. Simon, they were supposed to be they weren't supposed to be on the property. They were told it like in the press conference. They made this whole big thing that they were not going to be on the property, that they were not going to be this. They were not going to be allowed near it because it was a conflict of interest. Meanwhile, they were fucking all over it. Dun, dun, dun. It was unbelievable. But honestly, if you had to put 2 episodes together, the biggest mind fuck to me was the press conference. Even guilters were like, whoa. That to me was just you just nailed that nail in the coffin, tenfold done setup. Yeah, I knew that couldn't be right. I believe she loves Brenna, but she doesn't want to lose them all. I kind of agree with you to a point. I agree that she loves Brendan, but in my heart of hearts and my gut tells me that she felt like Brendan, if you had to get rid of one, Brendan's the easiest one. Like Bobby was going to have a life and Bobby this and Bobby that. And, Brian this and all her other kids were going to be successful and Brendan was not. And I think that's why she got rid of Brendan. That's my own personal feeling. Yeah, the press conference was probably the single thing that pissed me off the most. Because it was just so out of control and it was so illegal and so unethical. It was horrendous. I read online that Barb was in on it or may have known what happened. I don't think she knew that. I think Barb's too dumb. I also think Barb's too stupid to not say anything to somebody at some point. You also have to remember, think about this is going to come out wrong, and I don't mean it wrong, but the class of people that you're dealing with, they're not ones, oh, here's hush money, keep quiet. They're just not that type of people. Someone just donate. That's awesome. Thank you, Kay. I didn't even know you could do that. Thank you. Ah, that's awesome. Bobby's a hunter. Where did they dress the deer? The deer was in the garage or something. Yeah, the deer was in the garage. And that was like, if I remember correctly, that was a whole big thing that Zellner, or maybe even Struding and Brooding and Strang, I don't remember totally. But there was this whole big thing about a deer being, that's why there was blood in the garage. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that. The bullet uses evidence, such a joke. That's very true. Bob knows more than she's saying. Thanks, Kay, so much. Barbara knows more than she's saying. He said he field dressed it on the side of the road. Yeah, if I don't remember totally, but there was something about there was only, you couldn't, someone help me out here, that something about you couldn't get, you had to tag the deer. It was something about tagging the deer that I don't remember, but it was illegal for them to kill it, so they had to hide it. I don't remember exactly. It was something like that. Tanya, do you remember? I wish I could, but don't have. But we think she deserves it. Oh. Did Bobby hit the deer or just pick it up? I think he hit it. Or maybe that's what it was. He hit the deer and it was illegal for him to hit the deer, so they hid it somewhere. So if Colburn was told where the RAV4 was and he went and called in the tag, who did call first? He called dispatch. Ryan to come move the car. Who will know why? No, Richard, the car was in police custody, according to the police report. They hid the car in police custody, and she was presumed kidnapped. That's what it was, Tanya. He couldn't tag it until the deer. He couldn't tag it till the next day. That's why. I had Ryan get her day planner. You have to tag and police report to take the deer. But I know the deer was in the garage. No, you have to register it. You can't just take a deer. Deer hunting in Virginia starts on Thanksgiving every year. I don't know what the law is. Yeah, I don't know either. But I know that I just remember that there was this big thing, like something with the tags, and they couldn't tag it right away. Aloha. I want to live in Hawaii. Do you know when I was young, my whole goal in life was to become a pot dealer on the beaches of Hawaii? True story. Deer tags should have vehicle description for insurance. Yeah, I don't know anything about deer tags, but I specifically remember that it was something about that they couldn't tag it, or it was illegal to tag it, or something like that. Cars on the side of the road is what I'm talking about. Kathleen said the truck driver told Colburn, yes, that the car was on the road. And then Colburn called in the tag, but Colburn denies it as saying that, like he was with the family or whatever. And the police deny that the car was in custody on the 4th, but there is a police record of it that it was in custody on the 4th. That's what I'm talking about. Place to tag was closed the night Bobby got the deer, so he did it the next morning. That's what it was then. I knew it was something. Colburn is the worst. I agree, Kay. I think Colburn is the worst. He's a liar and he's 1,000% involved. He is one of the main players. Absolutely. It's called Maui Wowie. But I completely agree with you. He was. Wait, what's the relevance of the deer? Somebody had mentioned the deer. That's all, Ashley. Somebody was talking about the deer. The case is so obvious. What the hell's wrong with that county? I'm so pissed. Whose DNA is on the plates? Which plates? The ones that were thrown in the back of the truck? The ones that, of Teresa's? I don't think they ever tested, or they won't allow Zellner to test it. I think that's what was said in MAM too. I agree with you. Kratz is the worst. Kratz sold his soul to the devil a long ass time ago. Why is Teresa's family demanding? Because according to Teresa's family, they got the killers. They're happy that, they believe that Stephen and Brendan killed them. And that's why. How did Brendan get blood on his pants from the deer? Brendan didn't have blood on his pants. No one has tested the plates yet. Yeah, I didn't think anyone's testing the plates. They won't give it to her. Yeah, Kratz is a pawn for the system. Typical. He's way worse than a typical lawyer. Way worse. He is. I mean, most lawyers would keep their mouth shut, and he just keeps going and going and going. And has anyone read his book? I actually read it. It is horrendous. Like one of, and I'm not a reader. I hate reading, but it was one of the worst books I think I ever read. It was like my 10-year-old could read it and understand it. That it wasn't adult written. It was just like a child, and it was the poor me, poor me. On the bottom of his pants, blood. No, it had bleach on it, not blood. I don't get why Ryan lied about the light being broken. I don't think it was. Honestly, Hawkeye, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that people automatically say, I don't know why you lied about this. I don't know why you lied about that. If you're afraid because you have something to hide, even if it's that you erase the voicemails, you're going to get scared and you're going to deny everything. You're going to say everything was a lie because you don't want to get in trouble and you don't want them to say, well, if he would do this, then he would automatically do that. So that's why even like Steven, everyone's like, oh, he lied or he didn't lie or he said she wasn't there. He was fucking scared. I don't blame him for that. Kratz needs to go on Dr. Phil. That's why I think, he could be mass murder, involved, but I really don't think he was. I really believe that that's why some of them lied. Like totally different lies though than Scott and Bobby and their lies. Totally different. But that's what I'm saying, Tanya. There really is no real significance to it other than he broke it, probably putting it on Avery property. But it's not that has anything to do with her murder. So, of course, he's going to lie about it, that kind of thing. It would take 2 different kinds of bleach to both remove the appearance of blood and to remove them. I get bleach on the bottom of my sweats all the time. Cleaning the floor with bleach all the time. What about the jail confession letter from the inmate? How would he know? That whole thing was bullshit. That confession letter was total bullshit. That was all set up by Kratz or the police or somebody, the jail inmates. That whole thing was garbage. Plates aren't tested. Yeah. Guys, I am going to cut this, though. I am tired. Okay, thank you so much. The rest of you, I'm going to do a couple of videos this week, but I promise you we'll do this every week if you want. And then when Making a Murderer dies out and Chris Watts picks up, you guys join me on that too. And thank you, Hawkeye. So I have a question though. When these streams go for like 3 hours, what do you talk about next week? Is it the same thing? Like this was my very first one, so I'm just kind of curious. Like, do we just keep talking about other stuff? Okay, works for me. Because that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid like if we go like 3 hours, what are we going to talk about next week? But we'll find stuff. So again, Kay, thank you so much. And you guys have an awesome weekend too. I got to be up. I thought it was my day off tomorrow. My daughter's got to be somewhere at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, great. My husband said, thank you for going. Go. Tell him he's welcome. Tell him I want Christmas cookies this year. So have a great night, guys. And some of you I'll see on Facebook. If you're not in the group on Facebook, you can always find me in Uncensored. And that's it. So I'll speak to you guys soon. And Marissa, follow along for Chris Watts. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to start doing videos on it, when there's actually something to talk about. All right. Good night, guys. Have a great night. Thank you. I don't even know how to end stream.